Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mothers would practically build themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv, and today, well, we're just a couple of days before Halloween, and I still have a lot to do on the shelf layout to get it ready for Halloween, to get it ready for the grandkids, because they're going to be coming in here and trick-or-treating. It's kind of fun. Grandpa has the doghouse all decorated up with different things, and we'll look at those in just a minute, that we do for Halloween. It's just such a fun time of year for me. Check this out. It's one of the fun things I got. I got a couple of these bottles out here that, you know, you shake them up and you got all sorts of really cool stuff that goes on in them. You know, just some fun things for the little kids to be able to come out and get some candy and enjoy looking at the displays. So today, well, this is going to be a little bit long because there's a lot to it. I've been working very hard, as you've heard me talk about, on this layout, this just one layout for Halloween. Just like the Polar Express I did, well, now I've got one that is just Halloween, just dedicated to Halloween. And it's going to be on display at the MRS Hobby Shop after Halloween. Don't know how long they're going to keep it, but they can keep it as long as they'd like. Hopefully it will help inspire some folks, because it is kind of fun. So today we are going to look at briefly the stuff that we've got together here for Halloween, for the decorations, but mostly this is to look at this train layout. You've seen some of the components that I built that are going to be on there, and that's why we covered them separately, because there's so many different things going on this layout. So without further ado, stick with Mad Dog Merv as we look at the October 2021 Halloween layout.
So our story starts with the Rocky Point Lighthouse I built a while back. We reviewed this some time ago on the Kit Hoarder Stash. And I'm going to put it on this recycled piece from the old Christmas layout from a couple of years ago. I had this in the corner. And I'm going to add a little bit of styrofoam. Get this the way I want it to look. I want it to be a point, a real point, and I want it to sit up high. And you'll see why here in a little bit. So this is going to take a little bit of work, definitely to get it to fit the original piece. But here I'm going to build it like a little parking lot here in the back. And, well, you can see I've got Skull Mountain there. Got to decide where I'm going to start putting everything. So I went out and I picked up a 4x8 sheet of beadboard. This was some insulation board, and I thought it would work really well for a module type layout where I can take this on and off the table whenever I want. So I cut a 4-foot by 4-foot section, fits on the table just perfectly, and now I've got to start putting the different components on. You can see at the top there, I rescued a piece from that, again, that old layout that I had for Christmas a couple of years ago. And here's my houses, the two haunted houses that I did last year, the Psycho House and the House on the Hill. I should say the House on the Hill and the Addams Family House. And, well, I'm going to put the point in, and I think this little area right here I'm going to make into kind of like a toxic pond. It's perfect, can go right underneath into that tunnel that I built. So we're going to raise this up with some more beadboard, a couple of inches. I want to make a tunnel right through here, and you can see I'm going to connect the point over to Skull Mountain. And you can see here the process, the starting of the process in building the point. And part of the tunnel here on the side, and also the area that's going to go between the two. Now I want to have a pirate cove, so I've got a pier. I'm going to cut out part of the styrofoam, put the ship in, and finally I'm going to start getting some color down here, just a base color, so we can start doing some scenery. See here, I've used one of the Woodland Scenics rock faces, and I've also got my little parking area kind of laid out, so it's starting to take shape. And here you go, the tunnel itself taking pretty good shape, making the side of the point. So once I've got the basic shape of the point, I used the craft colors to paint it. Decided I wanted some water, and I just used kind of an aquamarine and a deep blue, and that's what we're going to simulate it with. Then I used some Woodland Scenics water. And here's what our toxic pond starts out as. So the point, I'm going to go ahead and get the lighthouse on there. I've got all the painting done that I want on it. I like the way that it looks. I'm happy with it. Now to finish up Pirates Cove, we're going to put some palm trees in and an entrance arch that says Pirates Cove on it. And this is a glow-in-the-dark skull and crossbones that's left over from that Forgotten Prisoner kit that we did a while back. I'm going to start putting bushes on. You can see the toxic pond. I'm adding layers and layers back there, and you can kind of see how those layers are filling in. We're going to start adding some trees, and I wanted a way to be able to get from down below to up above to the point, and I thought, well, an elevator. I've got that other tunnel. It's kind of a walking tunnel. I thought, what the heck? Let's throw an elevator in. So I'm going to start this making this elevator here. These bricks, this landing area, I'm going to have to rip that up. That just doesn't look good to me. So we'll go a different direction there. And also, I'm going to put in a bridge, an auto bridge, and you'll see that in a few minutes. So here's what the cove is starting to look like with the palm trees and the pier in place. And this little cabana. And again, I tried using these vinyl bricks, and I don't like it. I'm not going to keep them. But here's some more trees. You can see I've got to fill in some of these areas where I put the houses in and put some scenery up against it. So here we go. We're going to fill this in. We used some expanding foam, and then we went over it with some plaster of Paris. And up in the front part here, I want kind of a little town square, if you will. And you'll see how that goes here in a few minutes. On this corner, I decided to go ahead and use expanding foam and just make a mountain. I wasn't sure what I really wanted to put here, and I thought, what the heck, this is what we're going to do. This is where our UFO is going to go. Okay, there's the bridge. I took a railroad bridge, just cut it, sliced it, and glued it in place to simulate a road going there to the parking lot, the elevator. So let's start working on some figures. And I got these unpainted figures. They're like carnival folk, and they're going to work really well for what I want to do. First of all, let's make some pirates. So I made some pirates. Here we've got some vampires that I got in a different set. We've got clowns. I'm going to paint up some clowns. And a ringmaster, but I'm going to use him as a vampire. Well, there we got Beelzebub himself, another clown, and some of our pirates. You can see how they're taking shape. Here's my vampire set. I've got plenty of them to have fun with. And then here is the clowns on the left-hand side. I'm trying to do a Pennywise figure. I don't know how well that turned out. But anyway, we'll find a place for him on the new layout. And here is my set of pirates with swords and, these are the guys that are going to be hanging out in Pirates Cove anyway. I do have these two figures here I thought would make great devil figures. And this character here with a big old knife. I took an extra resin skull that I had. It's a little bit bigger than this scale, but hey, it's going to work, I think, just fine. I needed a swamp monster, so I modified an 72nd scale aircrew for that. And then I got a real wild hair. I didn't have a Frankenstein, but I could build a Frankenstrat, and since I was going to do that, I might as well do Eddie Van Halen. If I'm going to do Eddie, well, might as well do Alex on the drums. So I modified some drums that I had from some other figures. 72nd scale pirate. Tried to make a werewolf here, didn't work out well, and the dude from Scream. I resin cast some skulls from the pirate ship. I also had some smaller ones that I had gotten through mail order that are resin, that are about 1/72. And here's a mold that I made of my ghosts, for my ghosts. And I resin cast several of my ghosts. Here you go. Got a whole bunch of these, really. More than I need. Then I decided to make a smaller ghost, and we'll show you him in a few minutes. Here's the mold, but we'll show you the smaller ghost, like a child in a sheet type of thing. Okay, and here we go. Eddie and Alex up there on stage. We're going to have some entertainment while you wait in line to go in the haunted house. And I did build this speaker box. I figured, remember Back to the Future? I wanted something just like that, so there you go. Just weird. This was a resin skeleton that I got. It was supposed to be 35th scale, but not even close. Not even close. But it is bigger than HO, and I figured a giant skeleton that they're unearthing. That's kind of neat. So here is the town square. I have a Reaper statue holding a couple of skulls, which actually light up. And I went ahead and built these little stands. The tents I'm going to eventually replace with more scratch-built stands. But anyway, I just kind of wanted a carnival-type atmosphere here. Food booths, whatever you want to call it. Okay, over by the lighthouse, we have these three hobos with their tent and a little fire that I homemade for them. And finally, here is Pirate's Cove with all of its figures in place. So let's shut the lights out and let's take a look at this, shall we? First off, we're going to come out of the tunnel here by Pirate's Cove. We do have the structures here lighted. Moving towards the tunnel that goes over to the elevator, you will see here on the far left one of those little ghosts that I made. And there he is kind of on the left-hand side. And here's the tunnel. Yes, it is lit. And there's two more of those little ghosts here that are near the line to get into the first haunted house. Now, the Scream figure is standing behind Eddie. All right, here is our toxic pond. And kind of center to the right, there is a dark figure. That's our swamp monster. You can see him better here, coming through the narrow channel, trying to get out of the swamp, the toxic pond. Here's a great shot. You can see this lit hole in the tunnel. I'm going to simulate some smoke coming out of there and put one of my devil figures over there. I think that'll be kind of cool. Now remember from last year, the bottom of the house is lit. The tunnel under the house is lit. And look at this. Right out onto the toxic pond. Wow. I love the effect. I really do. I think it's great. The ooze flowing out from under the house. And here we are looking down the tunnel. Ooh, scary. All right, so when they finish in the second haunted house, they come down the stairs, and here's kind of a little meeting area. Just have a few zombies and whatnot hanging out there. All right, here is Pirate's Cove. You can see the fog creeping in there on the left-hand side. And here it is. Here's the fog. It's creeping in over the point. Ooh, ah. And the pirate ship. I love the effect of this pirate ship. The lava field glows under the black lights, which is kind of nice. I think that's a nice little effect. Now check this out. Coming out of the back of that first house, you got some people and you got a zombie in the foreground. But look, the well, it glows. But coming out of the well is that chick from, was it The Ring? It's all dressed in white with black hair, real creepy. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Yeah, kind of fun. And here is our giant skeleton. And yes, it definitely is glowing in the dark. All right, let's take a real quick once over on the whole layout, shall we? All right, folks, so there you have the layout itself. Now, we are going to move on to the other things that I have done here in the doghouse. So there's your sign. Abandon hope, all ye who enter here. Thought that was just kind of fun and appropriate. It's always appropriate, I think, for the doghouse. So I put this big glowing spider web in here with this big spider. Did a little bit of a display for pirates with my goblets. And you can see the Forgotten Prisoner and a few other little pieces here I have on this shelf. On the far left, the skull and crossbones I put on my rum bottle, and then my extra skulls that glow in the dark in a little bag there on the left hand side. So kind of neat. And here on this table I've got my witch's pot. Simulated the fire, simulated the brew coming out of it, the tea light candles in the back, and the skulls around my pot of witch's brew. And here's Skinny. Gave him polished his teeth up a little bit this year. So looking over the workbench, you can see the little town I've got there, the shelf layout, and I've got this really cool thing. It's a skull that projects fire, and I thought, oh, with my forest there, I'm going to do a little forest fire. So you can see where I've got that. And I've got my old train pulled by the Nightmare Express. Of course, it's not running currently, but I've got that lined up there just kind of as a fun piece. Well, that's about it for the decorations inside the doghouse. I better get dressed because, well, we're going to have some trick-or-treaters pretty quick. So Mad Dog's got his pirate outfit on with his new pirate boots that he made and his nice new sword. And yep, here they come, cruising on down the road. Well, hey, I hope you folks like this. Hope you had a great Halloween. We'll see you again real soon.